The greatest stories ever told are not great because they belong to the past. They endure because they belong to the present moment. Every generation discovers itself within them, not because history repeats itself, but because the human heart never ceases to ask the same questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the source of suffering? How does one awaken to a greater life? The Bible has survived centuries not merely because it records events, but because it speaks in a language deeper than history. It speaks through symbols, through images, through characters that mirror the hidden landscape of the human mind. Suppose for a moment that every person mentioned in its pages represents a quality within you. Suppose every city is a state of awareness, every journey a movement of consciousness, every battle an inner conflict, and every victory the triumph of understanding over limitation. Then the Bible ceases to be a distant account of ancient people. It becomes an intimate portrait of your own life unfolding from moment to moment. When we read sacred stories only as historical records, they remain outside of us. We admire them, debate them, defend them, or question them, yet they seldom transform us because they appear to belong to someone else. But when we recognize that the drama is unfolding within our own consciousness, every page comes alive. The stories become mirrors rather than monuments. They no longer ask us to look backward in time. They invite us to look inward. The human mind speaks naturally through symbols. Dreams do not communicate with logical arguments. They reveal truth through pictures and experiences. Poetry touches emotions more deeply than mere explanation. Music expresses what words cannot capture. Likewise, the language of sacred scripture reaches beyond the surface intellect into the creative depths of consciousness. It is less concerned with informing the mind than awakening it. Think about the many journeys described throughout the Bible. They are not merely geographical travels from one place to another. They reveal the movement from fear to faith, from confusion to clarity, from bondage to freedom. Every destination represents a new level of understanding. Every wilderness reflects those seasons when certainty disappears and growth begins. Every promised land symbolizes the discovery of peace within. There are moments in every person's life when hope seems impossible. We feel surrounded by circumstances that appear fixed and immovable. We conclude that the outer world possesses greater authority than our inner vision. Yet every spiritual story quietly whispers another possibility. It suggests that transformation begins within before it appears without. The unseen gives birth to the seen. Every visible reality was once an invisible conviction. This principle extends beyond religion. Every invention existed first as an idea. Every masterpiece began as an image in the imagination. Every great achievement was once invisible to the world. Human civilization itself is evidence that inner vision eventually clothes itself in external form. What begins as thought gradually becomes experience. If this is true in ordinary life, why should it not also be true spiritually? Perhaps the greatest miracle described in Scripture are not violations of natural law, but illustrations of a deeper law. They reveal the remarkable influence of consciousness upon experience. They teach that transformation begins with an inner change of identity long before circumstances acknowledge it. Fear, doubt, resentment, love, gratitude, forgiveness, courage. These are not abstract emotions. They are living forces shaping perception. Two people may encounter identical circumstances, yet experience entirely different worlds because consciousness interprets reality according to its dominant state. The outer environment often reflects the inner atmosphere carried within. This understanding invites profound responsibility. Instead of waiting endlessly for the world to change before finding peace, we begin cultivating peace first. Instead of demanding certainty before acting with confidence, we discover confidence within uncertainty. Instead of postponing joy until conditions improve, we learn that joy itself has the power to illuminate new possibilities. The characters throughout Scripture can therefore be seen as expressions of our own psychological landscape. The faithful represent confidence. The doubters symbolize uncertainty. The oppressors embody fear. The liberators reveal awakening. Their interactions portray the continuous dialogue taking place within every human heart. There are days when generosity speaks louder than selfishness. There are days when compassion triumphs over anger. There are also moments when anxiety seems to silence hope. Each of these voices competes for authority within consciousness. The sacred drama unfolds every hour as we decide which voice shall govern our thoughts, words, and actions. Consider how often transformation begins with a simple change in perception. A person long imprisoned by resentment discovers forgiveness and suddenly feels free. The external world has not immediately changed, yet the experience of life becomes entirely different. The prison was not only outside, it existed within. The key had always been available, waiting to be used. This is the hidden power of interpretation. Events themselves possess less influence than the meaning we assign to them. One challenge becomes an ending. Another sees the same challenge as a beginning. One interprets failure as permanent defeat. Another recognizes it as valuable instruction. Consciousness determines experience more profoundly than circumstance alone. The Bible repeatedly encourages the reader to awaken rather than merely obey. Awakening requires seeing beneath appearances. It asks us to recognize that what seems fixed is often flexible, that what appears impossible may simply await a different level of understanding. Such awakening is not achieved through intellectual agreement alone. It demands inward transformation. Transformation begins quietly. It starts with a single thought, believed more deeply than fear. It continues through repeated attention until that thought matures into conviction. Eventually, conviction shapes behavior, behavior influences experience, and experience reinforces conviction. Thus, the cycle continues, not as blind faith but as conscious participation in life. Many people search endlessly for external signs confirming their worth. They seek approval, achievement, recognition, or possession, believing these will finally establish lasting fulfillment. Yet the deepest wisdom suggests the opposite order. Inner recognition precedes outer confirmation. A person who discovers genuine worth within ceases to depend entirely upon external applause. Ironically, such freedom often attracts the very opportunities previously pursued with anxiety. The symbolic reading of Scripture encourages this inward discovery. Every promise becomes personal. Every invitation becomes immediate. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to examine consciousness rather than merely circumstances. Instead of asking what happened long ago, we begin asking what is happening within me now. The answer changes daily because consciousness is alive. It is constantly growing, constantly choosing, constantly creating new interpretations. We are not prisoners of yesterday's thoughts unless we continue identifying with them. Every moment offers the possibility of seeing differently, believing differently, and therefore living differently. This perspective also transforms our understanding of faith. Faith is not simply agreeing with statements that cannot be proven. It is the quiet confidence that unseen possibilities deserve our trust before visible evidence appears. Every meaningful accomplishment requires such confidence. Farmers plant before harvest. Builders design before construction. Artists imagine before painting. Faith is woven into ordinary life far more deeply than we often realize. Hope likewise becomes active rather than passive. It is not waiting helplessly for fortune to arrive. It is participating inwardly in the reality one wishes to experience. Such hope inspires disciplined thought, generous action, and patient endurance. It refuses to surrender because it recognizes that appearances are not always final. This does not deny suffering. Every human being encounters loss, disappointment, uncertainty, and grief. The symbolic drama does not pretend these experiences are insignificant. Instead, it suggests they are chapters rather than conclusion. The night prepares us to appreciate dawn. Silence prepares us to recognize truth. The wilderness teaches lessons unavailable within comfort. Growth rarely occurs without challenge. Muscles strengthen through resistance. Character develops through adversity. Wisdom often emerges after confusion. The sacred narratives illustrate this timeless rhythm. Descent frequently precedes ascent. What appears to be ending may secretly be preparation for beginning. Forgiveness occupies a central place within this inward drama because resentment binds consciousness to yesterday. Every time we replay an old injury without release, we continue living within it. Forgiveness does not necessarily declare that injustice was acceptable. Rather, it refuses to permit past pain to dictate future identity. It liberates the one who forgives. Likewise, gratitude reshapes awareness. Gratitude does not ignore problems, it widens perception beyond them. It notices possibility where despair notices only limitation. It reminds us that abundance begins as recognition before it becomes accumulation. A grateful heart perceives opportunities invisible to chronic dissatisfaction. Love becomes more than emotion, it becomes a way of seeing. To love is to recognize value where fear perceives threat. It is to acknowledge dignity beyond appearances. Such love transforms both the one who gives and the one who receives because consciousness itself expands through genuine compassion. The greatest revolution is therefore internal. Empires rise and fall, cultures change, technologies advance. Yet every generation continues wrestling with the same invisible realities: fear and courage, despair and hope, selfishness and generosity, ignorance and wisdom. These are the true battlegrounds upon which history is ultimately decided. When individuals awaken inwardly, families change. When families change, communities evolve. When communities evolve, nations gradually transform. Lasting renewal always begins within consciousness before expressing itself through institutions. Outer reform without inner transformation remains incomplete. Every morning presents a quiet invitation to participate consciously in this ongoing drama. We awaken not merely to another day, but to another opportunity for choosing awareness over habit, understanding over reaction, love over fear. These choices may appear small, yet accumulated over time they reshape an entire life. No one else can perform this work for us. Teachers may inspire, books may guide, friends may encourage, but the decision to examine our own consciousness belongs uniquely to each individual. The sacred drama reaches fulfillment only when the reader recognizes himself or herself within its pages. Perhaps that is why these stories continue speaking across centuries. Civilizations have changed beyond recognition, yet the human heart remains astonishingly familiar. We still seek purpose, we still struggle with doubt, we still long for peace, meaning, and freedom. The symbols endure because the realities they represent remain timeless. Imagine approaching every challenge with the awareness that it carries an invitation to awaken. Imagine seeing every disappointment as an opportunity to discover a deeper strength. Imagine recognizing that every act of kindness, every courageous decision, every forgiving heart participates in the same eternal story, written not upon stone but upon consciousness itself. Then the Bible is no longer confined to libraries, pulpits, or debates. It becomes living experience. Its pages are reflected in daily choices. Its wisdom is revealed through transformed perception. Its promises are discovered through awakened awareness. The greatest drama is not hidden in the distant past. It unfolds within every human being who dares to examine the movements of thought, the direction of desire, the quality of belief, and the power of love. Every day the curtain rises once more. Every decision writes another scene. Every act of compassion advances the story toward light. Every moment of understanding reveals that the kingdom we have searched for across the horizons of the world has always been waiting to be discovered within the depths of awakened consciousness. And when we finally recognize that truth, we cease being mere spectators of a sacred story. We become conscious participants in it. We discover that the most meaningful pilgrimage is inward, the greatest victory is over fear, the deepest miracle is transformed awareness, and the most enduring revelation is that the divine message speaks continuously within the silent sanctuary of the human soul, inviting each of us to awaken, to believe, to love, and to live from the highest vision we can faithfully embrace.